Evening. Well, as you can see, it's been raining again. It is the 2nd of August. Sturgis is a couple of days away, but roughly 4,000 miles and an 11-hour plane journey from my house. So I won't be making any cool videos about Sturgis, which is a shame. You bastards. So instead, I'm going to tell you 3 things to avoid when doing an oil service on your Harley. Hence the reason I'm doing this. So, as you can see, or maybe not see, it might be a little bit low, but take my word for, I'm removing the air filter cover on my S&S air cleaner after doing an oil service on the Glide, and once again overfilling the oil, which brings me neatly to my first point. Don't overfill the oil. I was of the belief, I've always been of the belief, that the more oil the better underneath the minimum line. So when it was cold, I used to always make sure my bikes would read near enough full, while cold on the side stand. Turns out, can't do it with this one. I mean, I've always got away with it on the Diners and the Sportsters. On this one, doesn't like it. Done it a couple of times, ballsed it up a couple of times, and I'm once again paying the price. I do have the crankcase breather from Fueling, which does a fantastic job if you're not a fucking moron and overfill your oil. But it simply can't keep up with the amount of oil I had in it. I had it full to the brim on cold, which, as I say, I know isn't right before you start moaning. I know isn't right, but always done it on the Diners and the Sportsters. Never really been an issue. It'd chug a little bit of oil maybe for the first week. I haven't done an oil service on this for 2,000 miles and it's still spewing oil. So I've now removed a lot of the oil using a turkey baster, and it stopped spitting oil. So now it's just cleaning up. So tip 1, or thing 1, not to do, is overfill your oil. Leave it at about just over half, getting towards 3/4 cold on the side stand. Give it a chance to expand in the heat, especially if you ride a bagger, but I would imagine that goes well for all Harleys as well. Just because it's worth it. Look, shit. You see that? Oh yeah, look. It's just crap, just oil everywhere, and it's not a good thing. That oil will go into the pistons or get recirced back in, cover the top of the pistons. It's supposed to burn off, but with that amount of oil, I doubt very much it burns off easily. So I shall reiterate for the ones at the back: don't overfill your oil. It's not big, it's not clever, and you just end up cleaning up oil. Thing 2, when it comes to oil servicing your bike, or oil change on your Harley more specifically, don't over tighten your oil filter. I see so many people making the same mistake of fucking graunching on that oil filter. When you get your new filter, you've got the rubber seal on top. You just need a little dab of oil around the seal, twist it on, hand tight, you feel it press against the mating surface, against the face of the oil housing, and then quarter turn. Just quarter turn. That's all you need. If you go more than quarter turn, you end up with a suction from the oil itself, and the oil system is under pressure. It gets stuck against that mounting face, or it pinches. It'll either pinch the rubber and you get an oil leak. That's a ball ache. Or you'll get that pressure, the pressure will build up, and you'll never get the fucking thing off as it should. If you do over tighten your oil filter, I've seen a lot of times, is you have to mutilate and mangle the oil filter to get off. I'll put a picture here. That's a fairly mild case. I've had ones before where we've taken them off old Sportsters, we've bought them off people, bought them to do it up or whatever. Right, first thing to do, oil change. Cool. Cannot get the filter off. Cut it into pieces. Had to chisel it off, drill it off, anything. Just don't do it. Don't over tighten your oil filter and you won't have that problem. So that's number 2. Tip number 3, last but not least, is do not, and I repeat, do not over tighten your drain plug. You take it out, oil comes out, you stood it up, got all the oil out, it's all stopped dripping, good to go. Before you put any oil back in, you always replace the drain plug. Excellent. You should use a new rubber seal every time. If some people don't, I get it, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with the rubber seal, don't bother. A little bit of PTFE, that won't hurt either. Just a little bit of tape around the threads just to keep it in nice and tight. Lovely. What I see a lot of people do, get under there, and when they're working on the floor, the same way I do, they're not on a lift, they have a tendency to do it up, get that wrench in there, get that socket in there, they feel it get tight to the, and then they crank on it. Don't crank on it, man. There's not that much pressure. You'll thank yourself when it comes time to getting it off later and you haven't absolutely mangled the threads. If you mangle the threads on that, it's a pain in the ass. Just don't do it. I've seen it done recently, seen it a couple of times, but I've seen it done recently to somebody I know where they bought a bike and somebody had hammered in that sump plug. You don't need it. You don't need it. There is a torque spec for it. I don't know it. But again, once you feel it bite down, press against the face, just another quarter turn, half turn, at the most. You don't need to pull on it and fucking rip those threads out, man. Just be gentle. You're not animals. The bike it's not gonna shake out. I know Harleys shake bits off sometimes. The sump plug is not shaking out at the bottom of there, especially if you've wrapped it in some PTFE. You'll be golden. You don't have to pull on it so hard. Hey. But yeah, it's real simple. Just rookie mistakes or silly mistakes or not concentrating mistakes. Don't do it, man, and your life will be a whole lot. Okay, Brucey bonus points as I put this back together. Other things to do or look out for when you're doing an oil change on your bike, on your Harley specifically. Warm the oil up. Don't be a lazy bastard like me. A lot of the time I'll get it sort of semi-warm and dump it out and it just takes forever and you don't get all of it out. Just warm it up, make it thin, it's easy. Second is get the oil flowing quicker by taking off the oil filler cap when you're emptying the oil. Makes life so much easier. And probably the last one is don't forget to check your sump plug for shards of metal and bits of scrap and shit your engine's thrown out, because it's a good identifier, good indication of how well your engine's doing. And that's it. Another little tips, help, whatever video, even if it's just something to kill the time when you're having a poo. It's a video. You get to see my face. We've talked nonsense, and maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of something in there that you didn't think of or didn't know. And if you did know, good for you. You're a smart ass like me. Anyway, I'm hoping the rain stops. As I say, it's August now, and it's still raining every day. And as much as people go, oh, fair weather biker, you've seen the size of this thing and what it takes to clean it. I'm not cleaning this fucker every day, and I can't afford to let it go rusty, so those are my options. But hopefully I will ride soon, get some more riding videos. I want to try and chat some shit while I'm riding. I want to try and put a microphone on and talk to you while I'm riding, because I say some funny stuff and there's some funny stuff to be seen, but at the moment it's just not happening, and I'm sorry, but it will. Anyway, take care, see you soon, be good, bye.